Peace everybody, back with another video. This is New York Governor Cuomo revises social distancing order amid First Amendment lawsuit. And as you can see here in the picture is Andrew Cuomo, who can never stay off camera. But he's getting sued literally by a lawyer in Gettsville, New York, because that lawyer at Gettsville, New York is tired of his bullying. Also, people in Staten Island, they're sick of his bullying too. So this is why the protests are going on, because they want to go back to work. And so now Andrew Cuomo's getting scared now for what he has done. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo significantly revised a social distancing order on Friday after the American Civil Liberties Union had accused him unconstitutionally protecting religious services over under types of gatherings amid the C-19 virus outbreak. So yes, now you got is significantly revised a social distancing. This is what Andrew Cuomo is doing still. Order on Friday after the American Civil Liberties Union had accused him of unconditionally protecting religious services, and he did not protect the religious services. So the church was supposed to open up this weekend, and obviously it still hasn't. So Andrew Cuomo's getting scared because he knows he's going to get sued again. Released less than 24 hours after the first order, Cuomo's second directive allows up to 10 people to meet for any lawful purpose or reason, the Democrat and Chronicle reported. Well, let's see. The Democrat are the shadow governments. Yeah. Released less than 24 hours after the first order, Cuomo's second directive allows up to 10 people. Alright, so now you're allowed to have 10 people in your social circle when you want to go meet somebody. First is like 2 people, then it's like 3 people. Now he wants 10 people. Alright, so 10 people, that sounds about right. But but who knows what Andrew Cuomo, he'll change his mind every chance he gets, because he's not a good person at all. Mark D. Levine, who chairs the New York City Health Committee, suspected the revised order came as the result of a legal challenge, but indicated it was premature. Alright, so yeah, it was pretty mature of what Andrew Cuomo is doing. Of course, Andrew Cuomo is acting like a little child, as always, because nobody could stand him. And he thinks he's above the law, but he's not. A guy named Mark D. Levine, who chairs the New York City Health Committee, suspected the revised order. Alright, so now it's become suspected. It came as the result of a legal challenge. Well, unless Andrew Cuomo wants to get sued again, I suggest he better start doing what's right. This shocking order, forced by a lawsuit, changes nothing about the risks associated with group gatherings, especially those held indoors, he said. We need the public to continue to be smart and use judgment about the risk of this virus, regardless of what the world has forced on us. The virus is not real because it never happened. The shadow governments, they did this to make up this story about the virus so the economy can crash, so the elites can put in their fake economy, while the real economy is crashing because of these elites. They want everything their way. This shocking order, forced by a lawsuit, changes nothing about the risk associated with group gatherings, especially those held indoors, he said. Well, yeah, you can't hold them indoors. You can't tell people what they can and can't do. He also says we need the public to continue to be smart and use judgment about the risk of this virus, regardless of what the court has forced on us. Yeah, well, unless Andrew Cuomo knows what's good for him, he better do the right thing, because these once the papers are rolling to sue him, there is no way they're going to back off, because Andrew Cuomo is not the right person to be running the state of New York. He needs to be kicked out of office and kicked to prison. However, the New York chapter of the ACLU, in parentheses NYACLU, praised the governor's decision, which came after it filed a lawsuit against the original order. So there was an original order of a lawsuit against Andrew Cuomo, because people are tired of him, they're sick of him, they want him gone, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them. I want him gone too. Andrew Cuomo's a dictator. He thinks he knows everything, but he don't. He doesn't know nothing what he's doing, because he's acting like a little kid. We're glad to see the governor reverse course on executive order from last night. NYCLU legal director Christopher Dunn said in a press release. Yes, so Andrew Cuomo had no choice but to reverse that order, because he knew what was going to happen if he didn't do as he was told, because then he'll be going back to court again, and more lawsuits will be filed against him. The right to protest and exercise free speech is the foundation of all our other liberties, and during a crisis is exactly when we need to be most vigilant about protecting it. Health experts, elected officials, and police officers all agree that people can be outside safely while practicing social distancing, and it's critical that lawmakers create guidelines and direct law enforcement uniformly. So you still got to do the social distancing thing? No, not really, because it's fake, the social distancing. The right to protest and exercise free speech is the foundation of all our other liberties. Yes, it is. Free speech, protest, Amendment 1. You do have that right. And during a crisis, exactly what we need to be most vigilant about protecting it. Well, Andrew Cuomo wasn't protecting it, so hello, what's wrong with this picture with Andrew Cuomo? He didn't care about the First Amendment. He just did whatever he wanted to do. And with him, he has to get out of office, because 2 more years with him is pathetic. I mean, he's just a dictator all the way around. Health experts, elected officials, and police officers all agree that people can be outside safely. Yes, you can be outside safely. There's nothing wrong with that, while practicing social distancing. Social distancing, really? If a person wants to hug another person to greet them, they can't do that because they got to stay 6 feet apart. No deal there. And it's critical that lawmakers create guidelines or direct law enforcement uniformly. Well, the guidelines are all total BS. And the social distancing thing, excuse me, where did that come from? Where in our Constitution does it say you have to be social distancing? Nowhere. So what does that tell you? The controversy touched on a nationwide debate about how to best balance civil liberties with public health during the C-19 virus pandemic. So now you got a controversy touched on a nationwide debate on how to best balance civil liberties. Let's see, the American people, they want their amendment rights. They want their constitution. Shadow governments, they don't get nothing. I mean, what's the sense of them doing something that they're not going to do? First Liberty, a legal nonprofit, has decried the impact of C-19 virus shutdowns on houses of worship. And yes, that's where that was wrong, closing the houses of worship. In other words, your churches, your mosques, your synagogues, anywhere. That was illegal to do, because people do go to church, but since churches have been closed down thanks to these pathetic governors who don't do the right thing, they had to say, "Oh, we're gonna keep those churches closed for a while." Yeah, they kept them closed for a while, all right. The discrimination that has been occurring against churches and houses of worship has been shocking. First Liberty President Kelly Shackelford said in a statement, "Americans are going to malls and restaurants. They need to be able to go to their houses of worship." Yeah, and people do need to go to their houses of worship. It's essential. Churches are essential. And here, the governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo, is saying, "Oh, it's not essential." I guess again, you better reverse that decision real quick, Andrew Cuomo, sir, because what Trump is saying, "Oh, that the churches are essential." Think about it, Andrew Cuomo, before you get sued again, sir. On Friday, President Trump said that his administration would clarify that houses of worship are essential during the crisis. While Trump has called on governors to allow religious gatherings, it's unclear whether he has the authority to force them to do so. So yeah, President Trump had on Friday said that his administration would clarify that houses of worship are essential. Yes, they are essential. There's no way that there is no reason for a church not to be essential when it is essential during the crisis. While Trump has called on governors to allow religious gatherings, it's unclear whether he has the authority to force them to do so. So it's really unclear. So churches are going to be opening up, and the governors better do what's right, or else, because people are hanging out at malls, and restaurants and wherever else instead of going to church on the weekend, because it needs to be essential. The churches. Governors need to do the right thing and allow these very important essential places of faith to open right now for this weekend, Trump said at a hastily arranged press conference at the White House, asked what authority Trump might have to supersede governors. White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany said she wouldn't answer a theoretical question, and I could understand that. She wouldn't answer a theoretical question. But governors need to do the right thing and allow these very important essential places of faith to open right now for this weekend. So yeah, so the governors need to do the right thing, or else. Trump said it at a hastily arranged press conference at the White House. So he had an unscheduled press conference and urging the governors to have the churches open. Following Trump's announcement, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention released new guidelines for communities of faith on how to safely reopen, including recommendations to limit the size of gatherings and consider holding services outdoors or in large, well-ventilated area. So that means when summer gets here, which is not too far off. Well, actually, Memorial Day is always the unofficial start of summer. So they mean to tell me that we're supposed to be outdoors worshiping instead of being inside of an air conditioning church? Excuse me? This is totally insane. Following Trump's announcement, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention released new guidelines. Now, what kind of guidelines do they have for the church now? For communities of faith on how to safely reopen, including recommendations. What recommendations? To limit the size of gatherings. Well, excuse me, but churches, you can't help it. What are you going to do? Have one person in a church at a time? One person in a church a week? Excuse me? There are churches that would have at least, what, 20, 30 people, if not more? You can't help that part. Can't help it. People do need to go to the church because it's essential. And for the governor is saying, oh no, it's not essential. Excuse me? But Andrew Cuomo, you need to be slapped, sir. So stop taking all this crap too seriously and get off your butt and do the right thing. Because you're already being sued, sir. Andrew Cuomo is a dictator. I don't trust him, and I never will, because, he's pathetic as usual with his pathetic lies every day. And hopefully, whoever is running for governor of New York will kick him out of office. But there is a possibility. There's one right now that is in New York State, but I won't mention the name, so I'll leave it at that. Leave your comments below. I am out.